Welcome to the Contrarians and our topic tonight. Oh yeah, that other guy. Favorite lesser-known band members. We got a small panel, but it's a mighty one. We want to hear from you in the chat. Let's do it. Welcome to the Contrarians, and tonight we have a pretty cool topic that was suggested by Andrew. The topic for tonight, oh yeah, I'm going to laugh when I say it. Oh yeah, that other guy, favorite lesser band members. Ooh. So both of these guys, Andrew has at least 5, and Keith is an overachiever and has picked like 10. So I think we'll be fine. So I think we'll just go back and forth. We're just going to let's just have a loose discussion, gentlemen. There's not many here, you know? And since this was Andrew's topic, I'm going to let him start us off. Why, was there a reason that this topic just come into your head, or was there a reason that you...
you know why? Yeah, so for some reason I was thinking about Huey Lewis in the News, and not for any particular reason, but I was...
Why wouldn't you think of Huey Lewis in the News?
Well, I think it was coming on, and I was having a discussion with my brother about, like when does Huey Lewis kind of lose, the rock cred? And we actually went, right in between sports and 4. But I was thinking the guy that always smoked in the videos, I don't know anything about Huey Lewis in the News.
Player.
Yeah, and I was like, that guy was always so cool, and he was always the reason to watch Huey Lewis videos, but I don't know his name. I imagine only big Huey Lewis fans know his name, and so I thought of this topic, of these lesser band members, and all the guys I'm going to name are guys, obviously, that I know and respect and things like that, but I feel like there's a lot of those lesser-known guys that we probably maybe even associate the band with that look. I mean, I associate Smoking Guy with Huey Lewis in the News as much as I do Huey Lewis.
Yeah, and all he did was just stand there pretty much.
I mean, but
is it Coppolina? What is his last name? His brother was in Quicksilver Messenger Service.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow. See?
The guy, the hotshot guitar player guy. Oh, the brain. Can't remember what his name is. I'm not a big Quicksilver Messenger Service person, but I do know that's his brother.
Well, he always looked cool in the videos, even on their cheesier videos. Like, if this is it, he still looked cool because he was always smoking.
Who was it? All right. Quicksilver Messenger Service. So it would be John Coppolina. And his brother, I thought it was what was his brother's name? His brother is, where's his brother? Come on. Oh, Mario. His brother was Mario. So John Coppolina was born in 1943, and Mario, his brother, was in Huey Lewis, but he was quite a bit younger than John.
Oh, imagine so, yeah.
But yeah, that's who it is.
Well, he looked cool, and he made me want to get a Huey Lewis album, but I don't think I ever did, but I liked the videos, and yeah. All right, so I have 5. Are we just doing one at a time?
I'll just go back and forth. It's fine.
Okay. So my first one is actually going to be from Journey. And who is it going to be in Journey? Well,
it depends upon which lineup.
Well, it's going to be the classic pre-Jonathan Cain lineup. I'm picking Ross Valerie right there. And why am I picking Ross Valerie? One, again, he looks cool. He kind of looks like the guy that would be hanging out shirtless at a 7-Eleven in the 70s that would make you get a little closer to your dad. But the thing that's great about Ross Valerie is he's such a lesser band member that he gets fired every 2 decades from Journey and no one even notices. But I notice, because what's great about Journey, and actually what puts Journey one up on Styx is that instead of three-part harmonies, they do four-part harmonies. And Ross Valerie is part of that four-part harmony, and it sounds great, especially before you get Jonathan Cain, when you get Greg Raleigh in there, and you've got those four-part harmonies of Perry, Raleigh, Sean, and Ross Valerie, and it sounds really good. And that's what gives like songs like Anytime that kind of that great journey harmony. And not to mention that, look how funny he is. Why are they all laughing so much at this joke? But they are in stitches over the fake chair that Ross Valerie is sitting on. So Ross Valerie is going to be my first pick.
I didn't realize that
Great.
they were doing 4-part harmonies, but I suppose
They are. Yeah, they do four-part harmonies. That's yeah, if you like listen to Anytime or Feeling That Way, it's great four-part harmonies.
But it's kind of that same kind of thing because you've got that's Roy Thomas Baker production, and those, Roy Thomas Baker, Queen, the Cars, they all have that multi-layered vocal thing going, very thick and rich.
They do. Journey's able to reproduce that pretty well live, though,
That's
too.
amazing.
Yeah. So they, yeah. I mean,
I just
Journey.
remember though, when they didn't use, Roy Thomas Baker so much, they kind of went away from that. Well,
Well,
they
they
use
also.
Mike Stone eventually,
Oh
and
God, yeah. Mike Stone just ruins everything. I mean, this. There's a reason why Raised on Radio is a crap album. Is the production sucks and you don't have Ross Valerie in there, and it's not. I mean, like listen to Raised on. I mean, first of all, Raised on Radio, the songwriting's terrible. It's just middle of the road, bland, just kind of milk toast music. But you also lose that harmony,
yeah.
and yeah, it's. I
Well,
mean,
it's a pop record though, you know?
in the worst way. I mean, people
Yeah.
give Starship crap. I mean, give Journey that crap for Raised on Radio because it's. I will play Knee Deep in the Hoopla 50 times before I'll put on Raised on Radio. It's just
I
such
don't
a
know.
bad
I
album.
think I'd rather listen to Raised on. I don't really have a problem with Raised on Radio. When it
I would
came out, I did, but then I listened to it recently and I'm going, I mean, it's a decent pop record.
Trial by Fire or Raised on Radio. What's a better album to you?
Raised on Radio.
Ooh, see, I disagree. Trial by Fire has more complex songwriting and better harmonies again, because again, you get Ross Ballard.
You
Plus, you
base
get
it all on harmonies, I guess. I don't
well,
know.
no, I mean, you also get Steve Smith drumming too, which I mean, that's hard to
Yeah.
beat. But yeah,
Sorry, Keith. We're debating Journey.
yeah, I mean, yeah, I feel like that could be
I
a whole
mean,
show.
Jesus, what
Yeah,
is happening here? We're debating Trial by Fire and Raised on Radio.
two titans of rock music.
Started
All
it
right, so
with the
so
singing guy from Huey Lewis. So I mean, we're moving up. We're getting up there.
all right, so I accept Ross Valerie. Okay, so Keith, what you got? Give me
So
something.
I always preface when I talk about this stuff that, not being a musician and only a fan, I don't like to get too technical. So I know what sounds good to my ears, but whether it's really fantastic playing or not, I couldn't tell you. But the first one I thought I would go with, I kind of threw this together quickly because I kind of messed up for the last few days. I thought I was prepping for tonight's show, and it's actually a show a week from now. So I kind of was rumbling around here. What am I going to do here?
It's
I
all right.
realized this morning I had my emails mixed up. But someone who we thought was going to be here tonight who hasn't shown up should be pretty happy with this. I'll do this one in honor of Butch. So as a 10-year-old, when rock and roll came, when hard rock came crashing into my little 10-year-old world, the story isn't that much different than most of us in that time frame. Kiss was the band that started it off, okay? But there were a couple of us in school that were all into it, and we were sucking up everything we could, and we would walk home from school. And the little town I grew up in had a newsstand, and we would always stop there to check out the latest issue of Circus magazine and read everything we could and absorb everything because that's all you had back then. And so as we went along and got interested in other stuff, those first few bands that I got into along the way, a lot of them were kind of Kiss adjacent, and I would always see an advertisement for this band. The record company spent a ton of money on advertising them, and unfortunately, they never made it big. But I know it's one of Butch Ballich's favorite bands, mine as well, and it's these guys that get talked about a lot,
Yeah.
and they were Kiss adjacent because they were on Casablanca Records, so we knew they had to be cool because they're on Kiss's record label. And the guy that kind of jumped out at me is the second in here. You got Punky and Frank. So you got your lead guitarist, you got your lead singer. But as a 10-year-old in my bedroom, rocking out and, being a mirror star, I really took to Mickey Jones, the bass player. I just liked his look. I thought he was the most rock and roll looking guy. I wanted to have grow my hair long and and have Mickey Jones hair, and I just thought he was the coolest looking guy. And that's all we had back then were these 12 by 12 pieces of art, and they didn't weren't making any money, so you didn't get any kind of extras or anything in an Angel record. But that was one of the first. Kind of rock star kind of people that I really honed into, that I really took to. So nothing much to say musically about it. I love this record, but Mickey, who's no longer of this earth, I kind of just, for whatever reason, was drawn to him. I wanted to grow up and be Mickey Jones at 10 years old. So that's my first one.
Okay, there you go.
Would you consider Angel to be heavy metal?
Well, it depends who you talk to. I'm old enough that back in the 70s, there wasn't such an emphasis on what is heavy metal and like the term was kind of loose. I haven't had an older brother who grew up at the dawn of the 70s, and so he was of the initial Black Sabbath run, and he would always say, we never called Black Sabbath heavy metal, we called them acid rock, because those of us that were listening to Black Sabbath in 1970, 71, we were dropping acid to listen to it. So now, and it's that's such a subject that is really all over the place. I don't think they're heavy metal. They're hard rock. Um,
But those first two albums are definitely prog.
the first two records have that heavy progginess to them. I love this record. A lot of people say, well, it was a complete drop off, but I think they were trying to adjust to the time, because this is 77. By the end of the 70s, prog was in a very near death state. I mean, there wasn't a whole lot of prog. You had those. I like what I always call light prog. I like Kansas. I like Styx that aren't deep in the prog woods.
They aren't Gentle Giant.
Exactly. That I'm okay with. So those first Angel records sit in more in that camp. Um, but I don't know that whole what's metal, what's not. I just heard Martin say the other day that he thinks heavy metal begins in 1983 with Metallica's Kill 'Em All. So everybody's got their own ideas about what is and isn't. I don't I don't waste a whole lot of time trying to figure out how to pigeonhole any of it. It seems to be a really big deal these days. Um, if
Yeah,
it
metal's
moves,
such a
if
huge.
it moves me, if I enjoy it, I
I mean, if
really.
you look at a lot of that death metal stuff and all that growly vocal crap,
Yeah, death metal
I
versus
don't
black.
mean to call it crap. I'm just saying.
Well, I don't
Black
understand.
Sabbath looks very tame, almost like pop music compared to that. I'm just saying. It's
Yeah.
very
Current stuff.
non-threatening and very,
Well, current things that are described as metal. I mean, I mean, the new Ghost album keeps being called heavy metal. I mean, that's as proggy pop as you can get. But
I do
mean,
like
I could almost buy
yeah, I mean,
Ghost as
it's
metal
great. Yeah.
if they had a different singer. Tobias definitely does not have a heavy metal voice.
It kind of sounds like Buck Dharma, actually. He's
I'm okay with them. They get a
yeah.
lot of flag, but I'm okay with them. I don't, but
I just got tickets to see them in Tampa. I'm very excited for that. So good. Um,
Do they have a see? When was the gosh? When was the last God Ghost record out? When was it?
is Impera, it was
Yeah, I've got that. Are
yeah.
they still touring for that?
No, they have a new album that's coming out next week.
Oh, good. Okay.
Yeah, so they've got two singles. Yeah, they're really good.
I
Check them out.
I geez. This is why we talk music here on this channel
Yeah,
and turn
it's
you on and turn me on to it. Oh, I was not even aware that that was on the list.
yeah. No, they've got two new singles out. They're both really good. But definitely, I mean, comparing that to Opeth is a little bit difficult. So yeah, but they're both.
Well, I like the more proggy Opeth. You know, the album
I
that
do
was
too.
like their faces are in a tree.
Yeah, I heard.
The prog stuff
Yeah,
with no growly, that I
yeah,
don't.
Sorceress and stuff like that. But
But as a prog band, they're great.
yeah, I agree.
Well, all right, what's your next pick, Andrew?
All right, going with the Beach Boys.
Oh, here
And
we
when
go.
the Beach Boys could possibly be a lesser member? Well,
Well,
no.
Dennis,
Well, I mean, Dennis is right. I would say I'm even going even more lesser than that. I'm going
Bruce Johnston.
Bruce Johnston right here. So Bruce does not get the credit he deserves in the Beach Boys. Bruce comes on in the mid '60s to kind of sub while they tour for Brian because Brian's not touring. Becomes a member in his own right. Ends up writing one of the greatest Beach Boys songs of all time on this album, "Surfs Up." He writes the song "Disney Girls," which is a great song. Um, what's cool about Bruce is like comes up from the 60s surf rock scene and becomes a Beach Boy and really does something to their sound positively to their sound. And he's a great songwriter, he's a great singer, he's a great musician. Ends up writing the songs. I write the songs for Barry Manilow. And he's the only one that I guess Mike Love doesn't want to sue, and so he's still touring with the Beach Boys or with Mike Love and whoever he can
The
assemble.
Mike Love Band.
Yeah. So I'm going with Bruce Johnston. Not a whole lot to say about him other than he gets constantly missed in the Wilson family drama. You don't really talk much about Bruce Johnston, but yeah, he's someone that should get talked about more.
I don't know if this has started up yet or not, but I understand that Brian's band is going to go out with Al Jardine.
Yeah, I saw pictures of them together. So yeah, I don't know if
they've started or not.
Yeah, Brian's I think in a wheelchair now.
Yeah, I guess he's got dementia and Alzheimer's or something, but I'm not surprised.
Yeah, he's not doing well, but yeah.
But I think that's cool that Al's taken out Brian's band, which basically the Wondermints.
Yeah,
and,
with Todd Zuckerman. I guess is Todd Zuckerman still with them? Because he was drumming for them. Like Styx was kind of his side gig. But
Styx is supposed to have a new album come out.
Yeah, it's next month, right?
I think next month seems like a big month.
It does.
It does, doesn't it?
I mean, Willa Vankovic is
you know what's a drag? You ever seen like outtake photos from Summer Days and Summer Nights where they're on the boat? Bruce Johnston's on the boat, but he's not.
Oh, they don't.
Because Al Jardine was sick.
Yeah,
for
he
the
was
photo
sick.
session. But there are photos of that, and Bruce Johnston's on the boat. Now, why they didn't put him on the cover?
Well, he wasn't an official member at that point.
65.
I don't think he becomes an official named member until 2020, and then this album, Friends, which is a very underrated Beach Boys album, which is why I'm showing it. But 2020, what's funny about 2020 is he's on the cover and Brian isn't.
Right.
But yeah, so it's
Yeah, and Brian's on Wild Honey. Yeah, you might be. Maybe he was just a hired hand at that point.
I think he was. I don't think he actually becomes an official member until after Wild
But
Honey.
he sang on Pet Sounds. I
Yeah,
don't know.
I mean he had well, it's funny because on the tour that Brian kind of craps out on, I guess is
60
the
was that
64, 65.
65, probably Beach Boys today, I'm assuming.
Yeah, so they actually get Glenn Campbell to sub for him on
Yeah.
that. And then that doesn't work out, and that's when they get Bruce Johnston.
But yeah, I agree. Yeah. Bruce should get more credit. He's been very loyal and right there the whole time.
Yep.
All right, Keith, what you got?
Okay, my next one is rather timely. There's been a lot said about this gentleman just in the last few days, um, as he has left us. It's Judas Priest's Les Binks. He definitely was a huge part of this era of the band. To sit down and listen to any of his recordings, you hear an amazing player. So, Unleashed in the East was the first album I ever heard by them. I went to a gathering, a little bit of a party, and Unleashed in the East was playing, and I was blown away. And so that would have been a Friday or Saturday night. And so when I got to the mall record store, either Saturday or Sunday morning to get a Judas Priest record, they didn't have Unleashed in the East, but they did have Hellbent for Leather. That was the first album I bought. And pretty typical for me. It has stuck with me as being my favorite Priest record. And I have nothing against Dave Holland or any of the other drummers along the way, but Les absolutely is probably the cream of the crop. Um, and you can hear it on any of his Stained Class or Hellbent slash A Killing Machine or the Unleashed album. So rest in peace, Les Binks.
There you go. Well said. Well, what was your what was your mall record store when you were a
Um,
kid?
my favorite was it was a chain. I don't think it was a national chain, but I think it was fairly big over in the mid-Atlantic states. It's called Listening Booth.
Never heard of it.
It
But
eventually merged with wall-to-wall sound and video and the wall, which was an even bigger. I think those may have hit Ohio, the wall. You have
I
that?
don't remember the wall at all. No. Mm-mm.
But there was one in particular that was my favorite. Because as a kid, I mean, I could get to the mall. People talk about the indie stores and everything, but back in those days, the little downtown that were around here were still in the 70s struggling rundown phases, and my parents certainly weren't taking me downtown to any record stores. You know, it was
Right.
easy to get to a mall. So, Listening Booth, that was my store.
Listening booth. Wow. All right, cool. All right. Les, may you rest in peace. All right, Andrew, what's your
It's
next
a
one?
bad week for drummers. Clem Burke died too.
Clem Berg. Talk
Yeah,
about a great drummer.
yeah.
Holy crap.
Pull that one out. I did miss that. I was thinking Clem because he's another guy that is
Man, what a great drummer.
Yeah.
I could
absolutely.
never think of him drumming for the Ramones temporarily because he would overplay like you wouldn't believe, but maybe Clem could slow down and play simple drums, you know. I don't know.
Yeah.
But Marky Ramone, we've talked about this before. He was in the band Dust, and if you listen to those Dust albums, Marky is great drummer, you know. But you have
Robert
to
Smith, drummer for Susie and the Banshees.
who?
Wasn't Robert Smith from The Cure drummer for Susie and the
Well, he
Banshees?
played guitar and
Oh, he
sang.
played guitar. Sid Vicious drum. Someone weird drummed for them.
I think it might have been Sid. but I don't know if he really could play anything.
No, I don't think so. It was just more of a symbol on
I think
stage.
Sid had something to do with Susie and the Banshees. I can't remember.
I
Must
feel,
have been
yeah,
that.
maybe that was it. All right. My next band is the Cars.
Let's see.
Well, yeah, let's see. I'm
Yeah,
interested.
You
I
can
don't
almost
know.
pick anyone that's not Rick Ocasek or Ben Moore.
That is very true.
And I almost picked Elliot Easton, but I'm picking Greg Hawkes because the keyboard lines in the Cars are why I like the Cars. I think they're great hooks. I mean, listen to stuff like "It's All I Can Do" and stuff like that. The keyboard makes that song, and I feel like that's what sets the Cars apart, and especially this album. That's why I brought Panorama out, a very underrated
Come on,
Cars
let's
album.
make it a double shot.
Yeah.
Make it a
Okay.
double
Yeah.
shot.
And I'll go with Elliot Easton.
Okay.
I would have went with Elliot Easton on that.
I mean, they're both great. I mean, yeah.
Well, I think the Cars. It was a combination. It was the chemistry of all those guys.
I agree, but when and part of the thing with this theme is, some of it's just like, the guy from Huey Lewis, that's just like, who is that guy? He smokes. But some of it is like these guys, like whether it's Bruce Johnston or Elliot Easton or Greg Hawkes, that make a huge contribution to what that sound is, but they get completely overshadowed by like in this case, two dynamic frontmen. And that's, that's, I mean, you kind of, and it got really bad maybe in the Heartbeat City days when like people only, really thought of Rick Ocasek. But yeah, I mean, the Cars are very much an ensemble, and yeah, both Greg Hawkes and Ellen Easton are huge parts of that. And again, if you don't know this album, which really has no hits on it, it is a great
I had
album.
Panorama and oh crap,
My favorite cut on
I had
there
two hits.
is Running to You.
Running to You is great. Yeah. Are you thinking of Touch and Go, Grant?
Touch and Go.
Yeah.
Those
Yeah,
were
but those aren't like the big. They're not. When you think of like the Cars pantheon of hits, those usually don't make it, and it's a really out there album. They kind of went way off from where they were with Candio, and then the record company, I guess, brought them back for Shake It Up. But it's a great album, and it's a great kind of putting on while you're making dinner.
Yeah, it's not a happy record like the other. Well, I wouldn't say any of the Cars records are really happy all the time.
No, I agree.
But this is a pretty dark sound. It's pretty dark.
Yeah, it is. It's definitely their darkest album.
Yeah.
And Grant recently said how in 1978, when we heard that record the first time, it was so different than everything else that was on
Mm-hmm.
like mainstream rock radio. It really jumped out at you, and there you are, Andrew. It was those keys, those synths were so different from everything else. Yeah, there were quirky vocals and things, but I think that those synths, those layered synths that gave it that new wavy, just made it so different than everything else.
Yeah, because this is like the first. Well, in where I was in Central Ohio, this was the first thing from New Wave I ever really heard.
Right.
When I heard it,
A lot of people,
it really sounded like
it was out there. It was
Right.
out because unless you were in a college town or had older siblings that were into the whole punk
right.
new wave thing, this right here was the first thing that really hit the mainstream and really blew up big.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
And you're right, those keyboard lines, I mean, he's playing leads on the keyboard. So and you do have keyboard leads before that, obviously, like John Lord and stuff like that. But his keyboard leads are so distinctive, and it really almost takes the place of a lead guitar lead. So yeah.
Well, and Elliot Easton, you must say, he almost had his own individual voice because all those guitar solos that he would do would be right up front, and they were just as catchy as they were like catchy riffs and melodies outside of the song.
Yeah.
So well thought out and so well played. It's what's great about Elliot Easton.
Hard and
But
fast, in and
Mhm.
out,
In and out, and made a statement.
and bam, and it was magic. Yeah.
Mhm. So, but Greg Hawkes, yeah, I think he a little bit more under the radar than Elliot Easton, because Elliot Easton at least could be up front with everybody when they're playing live and share that spotlight. Then he has his own voice playing guitar. But yeah, I can see you had to have Greg Hawkes though.
Yeah, I mean, that's keyboard lines. I mean, you can't do it without him.
Definitely had his own sound too.
Yeah. Yeah.
That really made those records stand out.
Yeah. So,
Yeah. I'm just looking at it's funny. I don't know why I find this funny. I'm looking at the track listing for Panorama, and Ben Orr's only singing on one song on side one, and then he sings 3 songs on side 2.
well, okay. And here's what's another crazy thing about, and this is the reissued vinyl, but they give you 3 sides, and side 4 is just a blank piece of vinyl. And the Cars do this on like 2 of their albums. And
Why didn't they put the bonus tracks out that came out on the CD with
I don't
Shooting
know.
to You, Be My Baby, and
I don't, to not compromise the integrity of the sequencing. I don't know, but
no, put it on. There's 4 tracks. Put them
or
on
just
side
make this a
4.
single album and don't charge me $50. That's also a great
It's
idea.
not.
Yeah.
It's not 45 RPM, is it?
No,
Well, why is there 2 records?
because they space it out because it's 180 gram and they space out the grooves and all of that.
Oh, come
They
on.
space it out, claim that you're getting the higher fidelity with the grooves spread out, but it's just to charge you that extra money for
Yeah.
that.
I'm
We
sure
had all those records as single albums all those years, and they were perfectly fine.
They sounded great then.
Yeah, I don't particularly think that Panorama was a long album.
No, it's not. It's not. It's no longer than the first album.
If you're repressing Wizard of True Star, you may want to go with 2 records.
I think they do that with a lot now, though. It's like they say, "Okay, Computer's a double album now." It's just things like that. It's just
Wasn't OK Computer double album anyway?
I don't think was it. I mean, they must have released a vinyl in the '90s when it came out.
They did. It was out on vinyl.
Was it a double album then?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, I take it back.
But I don't know. I'm happy with the CD.
Yeah,
Don't need the vinyl.
I never liked CDs. That's why I was happy with the vinyl when vinyl came out.
Damn purists.
Yeah, it said vinyl and reel to reel. So that's what I listen to.
All right. Hey, there you go.
I don't stream.
Well, I don't stream either.
Yeah.
All right, Keith. Okay, so we just did the Cars. So that was your pick. All right. Well, Andrew, give us another one then.
All right. Well, I was going to save this for last. I'm still going to save this one for last. All right. I'm actually going to go with Bowie's lineup for a few albums, actually. And it's his keyboardist, since we're on keyboardist, Mike Garson, who plays keyboards with the Spiders from Mars. He's one of the few people that Bowie keeps.
Mm-hmm.
He's on Diamond Dogs. He's great on the Diamond Dogs tour. And why am I picking Mike Garson? One, because he's really creepy looking, which really adds to the whole Bowie early 70s thing. But 2, that guy can do an extremely creepy piano line. If you listen to like the piano part he plays on like Time on Aladdin Sane, that kind of wraps up him. I mean, he's just like he almost seems like some creepy guy that would come into your house in the 70s and tune your piano. And which kind of adds to his mystique and the whole Bowie early 70s thing, which used to scare me. And yeah, so I'm picking Mike Garson because also he's an amazing keyboardist himself, an amazing piano player and the whole deal. So Mike Garson, who again, gets overshadowed by the rest of the members of that Bowie band.
Yeah, just his work on Aladdin Sane, the title track.
Oh, amazing.
Kind of, I don't know how it works, but it works.
Lady Grunting Soul? I mean, that the piano part on that is amazing too. So yeah.
Like 100%.
Yeah.
So was Mick Ronson playing in this version of the band when he was in it?
Mick Ronson played because Mick Ronson's in the Spiders from Mars with Mike
Yeah,
Carson.
right.
Then Mick gets canned with the rest of the Spiders, or for some reason Mike Carson gets to stay on for Diamond Dogs.
Hmm. Yeah, absolutely brilliant stuff.
Yeah.
Great player. Yeah, 100% agree with that. All right, Keith, what you got? Give us something.
So I ran in the door to get ready to do this thing and give myself some time to get ready. And I threw on this shirt and I didn't even think about it until I put the shirt on. And I thought, wow, what a perfect band. Everybody in the band other than Sting. Because Sting always got all the attention and was the main focus. But, Stuart Copeland's a monster. And Andee was a very unique guitarist. And I don't know, I don't hear anybody talking about those guys. I've been listening to Stuart Copeland's Clark Kent, a little side project lately. And I mean, they're both really, the whole band. I mean, they were just super talented, and that's probably why, it didn't, they all were so creative and it, imploded or whatever. But the emphasis was always on Sting, so I thought that would be either of those guys are a good choice.
Yeah, I don't remember when they were out. Did everybody pay attention to Sting then? I think I always looked at him pretty much as a equal, Sting was writing all the songs other than when,
I don't.
but I don't know. I kind of looked at them all equal.
Yeah.
Stuart Copeland's such an amazing drummer. Like in his like, I mean, if you do top 10 drummers of rock music, something he very often makes that list. He's and yeah, I mean, he's amazing. So it's a shame that he doesn't get remembered like Sting. But I think, a lot of that rests with Sting. I mean, when Sting's solo career came out, it was really billed as Dream of the Blue Turtles was billed as the follow-up to Synchronicity.
Yeah, I
And
think
it
that's
wasn't.
where everything really changed.
Yeah.
But maybe not. I don't remember.
Dream of the
But
Blue Turtles is a fine album, but it's no Synchronicity.
I don't think they were ever, I think you needed to have the Police. I don't know why. Well, Sting probably wasn't writing for the Police anymore.
They
I
did
can't
not
imagine.
get
Yeah.
along at the end. I mean, they were fighting in each interview they did on like the Synchronicity tour. They would openly fight on like MTV, interviews and stuff.
It's
So,
good that we got what we got,
yeah.
because it
Yeah.
was only a momentary that early 80s or whatever. You're never going to really get it again.
Yeah.
Well, that's a good choice. All right.
All right.
Andrew, you have any more?
I do. I'm going to go with the band that became the biggest band of all time after the Police. When the Police demise, they kind of handed their crown to this band. And who would that be? Well, it's going to be U2.
It
And
is.
yeah, and who in U2 am I going to pick? Well, you could pick Larry Mullen Jr., but I'm actually going to pick Adam Clayton, the bass player here. I'm trying to. There he is. Um, and Adam has the look. He's got the cool rock star look with his bushy blonde hair, which is not showing up well on my thing. But he's the thing that's great about Adam is you've got the Edge kind of sculpting all these weird sounds, and kind of making that, the U2 sound. You've got Larry with his military beats and things like that. Adam knows his place. He's not trying to do anything fancy. He's not trying to funk it up. He's not trying to be Geddy Lee. And maybe he's a more complex bassist when he wants to be. But I think, what's great about Adam is he knows his place. He knows he's just going to chug along those very simple bass lines and be a rhythm section. And he serves his purpose well. And even, and you can tell because the first album he's a little little fancier. And then at that, either he gets tired and doesn't care anymore, and so he just chugs along his bass lines, or he understands, this is my role in the group. This is the hole I have to fill, and it's just these simple bass lines. So Adam Clayton, bass player for U2.
Yeah, well, I don't know, but he was absolutely killer on War. His
Yeah,
bass lines
he's killer
so
on everything.
predominant.
But I mean, you would never like listen to him and think, wow, like the thing that stands out here is the bass playing, because he's never overshadowing the Edge.
No.
Interesting thing, the last song on War 40, the Edge is actually playing the bass line because Adam Clayton couldn't figure out what the Edge wanted.
Really?
Yep. And even on Under a Blood Red Sky live, they actually switch instruments, and Edge is even playing it live, and that's why Adam's just doing basically feedback on the guitar.
I had no idea. I never, of course, I don't think about U2 all that much, but
well,
okay.
I'm going to try and change that. Grant.
I know Andrew's always, any show Andrew's on, he's going to talk about U2.
I didn't realize. I didn't know who was going to be on this show tonight, but I did have a U2 picked out of there, just because I think Edge doesn't get, there too. It seems like Bono is the the front man, and I think he may not be the greatest technical player, but I mean that those sounds that he created and his. It's just, made the band, and I don't think he, maybe amongst players or whatever, hardcore fans, but I just think he's a little overlooked. So,
did you ever see It Might Get Loud? The documentary with Edge and Jimmy Page and Jack White.
Yes.
That was, I mean, a pretty amazing kind of their different approaches. But I mean, I think the thing with the Edge is, and he never gets, he never gets listed on like top 50 guitarists. No one ever even thinks about the Edge. But the Edge is solely responsible for how unique U2 sound is, and really is. I mean, the Edge combined with Brian Eno is what creates an album like Unforgettable Fire or Joshua Tree, and he's amazing. I agree.
He's more about textures, I think.
He's and he'll admit that. He's an atmospheric guitar player. And that's why Brian Eno's drawn to him, because it's basically rockin' ambient music.
He's not a lead guitar player by any means.
Well, he's not a riff man. He's not playing riffs. He's creating a sound atmosphere. But that's what works for you too. I mean, Sunday Bloody Sunday is the closest thing you get to a riff, which isn't really a riff. It's a slowed down arpeggio that he's doing, but it's
yeah. So what, Keith? Who were you gonna say on that record?
Edge.
The Edge.
Yeah.
So, but no one's gonna go with Larry Mullen. I'm gonna go with Larry Mullen.
Yeah, good. We'll talk more about U2. Yes, I agree too.
What a great drummer, huh? Come on.
He really is. And
he is a great drummer.
Yeah. Military style that he used to do at the beginning, and then he evolved into something else. But you listen to Achtung Baby, the sound of that album is by and large Larry is responsible for that with that drum sound. He's got a very unique snare sound and everything on that album.
Yeah. Wonder if that has something to do. Well, yeah. I always thought he had a very unique drum sound just in general. And that might be contributing to, what Steve Lillywhite did originally with the whole Sound of War.
Yeah.
But I always thought his drum sounded great.
I mean,
very lively. You know what I mean?
Well, he's playing like military marching beats with a ton of snare and a ton of hi-hat at the same time. So yeah. But yeah, for Achtung Baby, he plays a 10-inch snare, and it totally changes the whole sound of the band. Yeah. But yeah.
Well, Keith, you got another one? You got a whole bunch.
Yeah. So let's stick with bass players. This is a sideman although there was a band early on, but he has stayed with with this guy all throughout his career, and you should kind of be into this one, I would believe. But Joe Jackson,
Oh, Graham.
and maybe
Yeah.
uh, he has been there all along. He's still with them to this day. And if you listen to Joe Jackson, there are some great bass lines throughout throughout the entire catalog. And he makes songs like Sunday Papers, and I think he was a really important part of Joe Jackson's career. Joe's one of my favorites. I think there's a lot of side guys. I'll double up on that. You want to move this along? Should I throw a few things out there?
I think I saw, yeah, go ahead. I saw Graham, I think, play with Marshall Crenshaw.
Yeah, he's always active, but he's always been, he's always been part, with Joe
I
Jackson.
think, was it Marshall Crenshaw? God, I can't, I'm gonna have to think about it. I think it was Marshall Crenshaw.
Well, that was one side man that I thought was an important part of
Yeah,
the artist. And another one that I think is super important is Steve Stevens to the Billy Idol story.
100%.
So I pulled that as another side man. Uh, I'll give you those two.
All right. Andrew, you got anything else left?
No, I'll just say Chuck Bonanza for the sake of throwing sticks into this.
We'll throw Chuck out there.
Yeah.
Well,
For the
Chuck,
sake
if
of
you listen to Chuck playing on all the if you listen to Chuck playing on the wood and nickel stuff and comparing to the A&M stuff, he was damn near like Chris Squire when he was playing on the wood and nickel stuff. And then when he got to A&M, he really calmed down.
Well, it's almost like they put the two brothers kind of in the background once they got Tommy Shaw. It was more like a
Well,
trio.
look who got in the background, James Young, when Tommy came along.
Yeah, but it was still kind of those three guys. It was like when it was those three guys in a rhythm section. Even on Paradise Theater, Chuck and John share a photo. Everyone else gets their own photo. Which, yeah, I feel like in the Wooden Nickel days, they're more kind of equal members in the band.
Oh, well, I would agree 100% then.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, go ahead, Keith. Impress us.
I always thought the second guitar player in this band was very important, although the lead guitarist gets all the kudos, and that is Mr. Brad Whitford of Aerosmith.
Yep.
Yep.
Another integral part of this band who I'm not sure I would feel the same way about the band without this guy, but Mr. Michael Anthony of Van Halen.
Yeah, 100%.
Those vocals, I mean, that to me is what brought it all together for Van Halen. I've mentioned this guy before, and his brother gets a lot of the limelight. He's no longer with us, but Malcolm Young sitting deep in there on that album cover. His rhythm is, really kept the AC/DC machine rolling. Member of this band who I don't know. This might be a bit of a stretch, but when it comes to the Clash, I think that Mick Jones is a lot more should get a little more credit. I think to me, Joe Strummer kind of was always out in the forefront, but I always really liked Mick Jones's songs just as much as Joe Strummer.
Oh, Seminon too. I mean, Guns
Yeah,
of Sin
yeah,
is a
yeah,
great song.
yeah.
Yeah.
What else do I have here? I'll give you one more. Love this band, and the leader of the band would go on to another band, have huge success with that band, and then have even more success as a solo artist in Europe, not so much here. But the Jam is the band, and I love Bruce Foxton. to me, Bruce Foxton is a terrific bass player. Has great bass lines throughout the Jam catalog. So those are that's everything I have here.
I've got that same comp on vinyl. It's the Jam.
I have
Great comp, by the way.
how I wound up with two, but I have two of these. But and it is a good comp. It's great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
Yeah.
I think we probably covered it, you know. Um, went around. Hey, we filled, look at that. We've almost won an hour. Perfect. So we do want to hear from you. What other, give us some more. I'm sure we've missed some, but list down below. What are some other artists that you think are kind of take the, could be more pushed out front or kind of pushed into the background that are very important to the band? Let us know down below. If you'd like to be on these panels, we'd love to have you. If you'd like to support us, we do have a Patreon that you could join. We'd love to have you join and be on a panel, for goodness sakes. Be great. Also, we have a Ko-fi, buy us a pint or a cup of coffee. We'd appreciate that. We also take donations. I mean, who doesn't? We love money here on the Contrarians. But here, we're really here just trying to turn you on to stuff, and we're just here to talk music. So hopefully you got a lot out of this program. I do want to thank two of our Patreon members, Andrew and Keith. It was a lot of fun. And what's coming up next? I don't know, but Martin's been cranking videos out.
Yeah. How about that? Martin has been a machine.
Yeah, well, Martin being a machine's one thing, but then it causes us to have more work when he's a machine.
I got you.
Martin will record. He ain't putting this stuff together, ladies and gentlemen. But it's all good. Contrarian's a good place. Anyway, gentlemen, anything you want to say before we wrap it up? I think we pretty much, yeah.
I feel like we've said it all.
We've said it all. All right, everybody. Have a good week. Have a good weekend.
Thank everybody who checks in and watches these things. It's interesting to, after we do this on our end, it's always kind of cool to see what kind of a viewership you get. It's kind of cool. So, and obviously, if nobody watched, we wouldn't be. So
Right.
thank you for that. And, hit those likes and all that good stuff. So
Do all that. Hit the like, subscribe. All right, everybody. We'll see you. Have a good one.